Hello guys, welcome to the ninth lesson in this Python series. Tomione here from Coding for Youths. This channel, like we always do, is to encourage you to try a bit of code every day. There are a lot of challenges on Twitter, like 100 days of coding. You can, try that, and there are a lot of resources you can actually, use to learn how to code. Okay, so in this series, we have been talking about strings. We've talked about what a string is. We've also talked about how to, you know, assign a string as a variable, as a value to a variable. We've talked about multi-line strings. We've also discussed about strings as we say strings are arrays and how to get each item in the array by using to get the index of each of the items. We've also discussed looping through a string, by using a for loop, say for, and then you assign each of those items to a variable. And then you can print the variable. We've talked about that. We've talked about the length of a string using the length function. We also talked about how to check if a string is contained in, if a letter or word is contained in a string. We've discussed all that. We've talked about slicing strings, using this using we discussed about slicing strings using the column, and we talked about all that. We've also talked about modifying strings, like what we were discussing upper, to get the upper case, to convert the string, or the words to a string, to an uppercase and lowercase. Okay. Let's talk about removing white space from a string. No, white space is the space before or after the actual text, and very often you want to remove this space. I will just show you example, like what we have here now. Let's say you have this white spaces, okay, before and after the string. If you print this string, let's print this variable and say print using the print function. Say print x. If you print the x, you can see that there are some white spaces here and also here. Okay, to remove that white space, you use the strip method. Okay, you can use the strip method to remove any white space. So if you come here and say let's inside our print function, we can actually say dot strip like this, and then the strip we actually remove any white space. So if you run this, you see that there is no white space anymore. Okay, so that's how you remove white space from a string. You can also replace a string. Okay, talk about string replacement. You can replace a string. Let's say you want to replace a string with another string, or a character with another one. For instance, let's say we have this string now. If you want to replace the letter H in the string with the letter J. Okay, so we can do something like this. We can use the replace method. We can say print the string dot replace, and then it's accept two parameter, two argument or two arguments or two parameters. Let's say we want to replace H with J, something like this, using the replace method. Unexpected end of line by passing. Okay, we didn't put closing brackets. That's why we got that error. So we print this, you can see that the H has been replaced with J, right? So you can use replace to do a lot of things in a lot of manipulations. You can actually replace hello with hi, right? If you print, you have hi word instead of hello word. So just imagine what you can actually do with the replace method. A lot. You can do a lot with the replace method. Now we can also split string using the split method. So you see all the methods you have mentioned there. We've talked about the replace. We've talked about the strip to strip, to remove any white space. Okay, we've also talked about the replace, which is what we just discussed now. Let's talk about splits. Okay, the split methods returns a list where the text between the specified operator becomes the list item. Okay, let's say we have this hello world, and then we want to convert this to a list. Okay, remember that this is a string and we want to convert that string to a list. Okay, the list has comma separated items. Okay, in more like an array in JavaScript. So we can do something like print, and then we say x dot splits, and then you want to specify the what you want to use is separating the letters. Okay, so we're going to use a comma like that, and then if you print this, you see we have two items in the list. We have hello, and then we have word. Okay, we still have the white space here, which you can also remove if you have more than, let's say we have something like instead of hello world, we say let's say a is equal to the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Okay, and then we want to split each of these words as this string, the words in this string into a list. We can come here and say a like this. Okay, now I actually said this was actually what we want to use is separating this, but this is the item. This is the delimiter we are looking for this separation. Anywhere we see this, we want it to be splitted. We can actually use a white space. Anywhere we see white space. Now, if we run this, look at what the result will look like. You see, we have a one item in the list because there's no comma at all in this string. Okay, so if we want the white space instead, if we use the white space instead, you see that we now have how many items now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the split function, you specify what you're looking for as a separation between each of those words for the split function to be able to split the words in the string into a list. Okay, if the string cannot find that, it will make the whole, if the split method cannot find that, it will make the whole string as a single item in the list. Okay, in this case, if for instance, if we have a comma here and the comma here, the comma here, then we can now use a comma here. Okay, so if we run this, we still have the same results. See, we have the same results. Okay, but if there's no comma and then we use the comma, we'll have a single item in the list instead. Okay, so that's how the string method works. So you can see now we just have one single item in the list because there's no comma. That delimiter cannot be found in the string. So that's how you well, we can say a separator. You can say a separator. What separates each of those words in the string, that you want the split method to look for. Okay, so we will learn more about string methods in the future. Let's talk about concatenation, string concatenation. Okay, string concatenation is actually to combine two strings together. Okay, so let's say we have this string and this string. Okay, so we want to combine them together. We could actually use a plus sign to combine them together. Then you now have a third string. You can come here and you say b is equal to x plus a. Okay, if we print b, we'll have the two strings combined together. So we have hello world, and then we have this. Okay, we can have something like this. Like that. Okay, so hello world, and then the quick brown fox. You can even have a comma inside there. Hello world, the quick brown fox, or a period. Okay, so that you can see this is also a string. We can concatenate the string, injecting the string into a concatenation. Okay, you can also assign each of those strings a variable, and then you do your concatenation. So this is how you combine strings. I combine strings using the plus operator on strings. But what about if you want to add a string and another type, or using concatenation? Will it work? No, you have an error. For instance, let's say we have another variable called let's say c, and this is equal to 5, and then we want to add, we'll come here, we say we want to add c plus let's say b or x. Okay, we'll have an error. Okay, now you can see the error here, type error. Unsupported operand types for plus, int and string cannot be combined together. Okay, you can't concatenate the two because it will be confused. Are you trying to add, or you're trying to concatenate? Okay, so let's talk about string formats. Okay, like I said, we cannot combine a string and a number together. Okay, it will not work. But we can combine strings and number by using the format method. Okay, now the format method is actually it takes a past argument and then formats them and places them in the string where the placeholder are found. Now the format is actually used as a placeholder. Okay, like we'll talk about interpolation. So for instance, let's say we have the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Let's say we have something like this, let's say we have something like age is equal to 35, and then we come here and say we say this DSC as description. We say the young man is, and then we use you see we use a curly bracket there now as a placeholder where we want to put the age. Okay, the young man is dash years, okay, old. Now if we come here, we can now use the format. We can say print, and then we say we can now say DSC, okay, dot format, and then what do we want to put there? Age. So anywhere we see the placeholder in this DESE, we want to put the variable age. Okay, so if we run this, we have the young man is 35 years old. So you use this as, you use the format as a variable injection into a string, okay, or we can call it interpolation. Okay, so the format method actually takes unlimited number of arguments and are placed into the respective placeholders. Okay, so we can have more placeholders inside the string method, inside the string. Okay, I'll just take one more example and then I will end this lesson because the lesson it has become too long. Let's say we have something like heights. Let me use age aside. Let's say 6 meter. Okay, and okay, let's say BMI. Let's say 21. Okay, so now if I come here inside this string and he is, I put one placeholder there, I want that should be the height, tall, with body mass index, I put another placeholder there. Okay, so if I come here inside my format, I will have to place each of the variable the way they appear, in the order they appear. Okay, I want the first placeholder, will be for the age, and the second placeholder will be for the height, while the last placeholder is going to be for the body mass, the body mass index. Okay, if you place the order in the wrong way, you have a wrong variable placement. So we say H and put comma BMI like this. Now if we print this, if we run this, 21. Okay, we actually need to indicate inside the placeholder. We actually need to indicate inside the placeholder the order. Okay, because this is more like this takes the order here. We have 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so in this case, we want here to be 0, we want here to be 1, and we want here to be 2. Okay, so let's run this again. 21. Oh, okay. There's not, I didn't put an equal to there. That's my mistake, sorry. Okay, so if we run this, we have a young man is 35 years old and he is 6 feet tall with body mass index 21. Okay, feet. Okay, well, let's run this again. See, so that's how you do it. Let me remove this and run this again. See, we still have the same results. So the young man is 35 years old and he's 6 feet tall with body mass index 21. So that's how you actually format a string and inject a variable into your string. There are other methods you can actually use to inject a variable into a string, like interpolation, by using the f the f okay, the format also, and then I have something like this. Okay, but we'll talk about that much later in the lesson. So I'd like to end this particular class here now. I'll see you guys in another lesson. Thank you.